Vincent van Gogh, or as the Americans say, Vincent van Gogh, was a painter. One of the paintings he made is called The Potato Eater. It features a family of peasants eating potatoes. It is widely regarded as a relatively good painting. Obviously, as is common knowledge, Vincent, regardless of how he pronounces his last name, was not a very appreciated artist during his life. So that means that this painting has not always been looked at so positively. And it is very doable indeed to find flaws in this painting. Look at this man's arm, for example. It is a little too short. This woman's hand is looking kind of fucked up. The way she's holding that kettle looks very unnatural, and it looks like her index finger is twisted out of alignment with her other fingers. And this man looks a bit like a monkey. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, of course, but most artists would not do this. These things could be regarded as flaws of this piece. But even so, it is widely regarded as a painting that is relatively good. While many painters like to paint models in a studio, Vincent painted real people. Obviously, painting a bunch of human mannequins in a studio is much easier than painting real people. Real people do not have the time to stand still for you for hours while they wait for you to paint them. So by choosing real people as his subjects, Vincent puts himself at a disadvantage. So even if there are what could rightfully be considered flaws in this painting, it is still a very impressive technical achievement that not many painters would be able to accomplish. It is definitely a relatively good painting. But technique, obviously, is not the only thing we measure the quality of a painting by. So let's have a look more specifically at the content of Vincent's painting. What he depicts is not necessarily strange. It had certainly been done before. Some people say, for example, that Vincent was influenced by a painter called Joseph Israels, who had already done a fairly similar painting. However, Vincent's take on this subject is usually regarded as superior. While it may be argued that the painting by Joseph Israels is a greater accomplishment, it also has flaws that are much bigger than the flaws in Vincent's painting. The first problem with this painting is that the room is too spacious. Obviously, this dining room is not a typical peasant dining room. Real peasants lived in what we would now basically consider to be unacceptable living conditions. The people on the Joseph Israels painting, while they don't seem to have any technical flaws, also don't really scream peasant in the way that the people on Vincent's painting do. Look at this woman's hand. While the hand of the woman on Vincent's painting might be described as imperfect, it is a much more appropriate hand. The hands that Vincent draws are the hands of the working man, not of studio models. These hands tell a story of hardship. These hands are the hands of honest labor. These hands are the most legitimate shit. By all means, this is a political work. It does not romanticize the life of a peasant. It is a painting that has something to say. Compare it to a random portrait of a king, for example. A painting like this doesn't really say much. Even though by some standards of measurement, it could be considered a relatively good painting. It is not art. Far from it. The Potato Eaters is also a relatively good painting. But it's also more than that. It's one of the greatest works of art in human history.